if you really dig down on what are you doing, who are you, then you will realize, okay, the company that I think I am, I'm really not. That's not who we are. This is who we are. That's why we matter to people.
Yeah.
Why do you matter? That's when people ask, what's your why? You got to define that. You can't define that. You got to go back to the drawing board.
Welcome back to Marketing Mentality. I'm Desmond Walker. I have my co-host to my side, Alan Shelton. And what you are about to witness is a masterclass, as always, in marketing, in advertising, and in media. And even more special than that, we have what I would call radio royalty in the house
For sure.
tonight.
Definitely.
Radio royalty. It's impossible to know Chicago media, Chicago homegrown media, without knowing Midway Broadcasting, without knowing WVON. And with us, we have Miss Melody Spann-Cooper, the chairwoman of Midway Broadcasting.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yes.
This is
welcome.
amazing. You know, this is so next level.
Yes.
And I see the future of media in you guys.
Oh, wow.
So I'm honored. I'm really honored to be here.
Okay, no pressure.
No
Pleasure to
pressure.
have you. Pleasure to
No
have
pressure at all.
Pleasure, for sure.
Yep.
So we're gonna have a great conversation, Melody. You're someone who has a very contagious energy about you. Very much a person who shares your wisdom with no hesitation about it, and that's something we've picked up on immediately, getting to know you a bit this year. And so, you know, we want the world to know what, you know, we've already picked up on, right? Being in a room with you, we want to, you know, take today, right, to really share the history behind what it is that you're leading at WVON and Midway Broadcasting and everything in between, right?
Yeah.
So this will be a good conversation.
I love it. Let's do it.
So, Melody, so you've been doing this for a minute, right?
Yeah.
But what I really find very special about how you've come to be is this has been a generational dynamic for you.
That's right.
Very generational. Your father started, or I'm sorry, you inherited from your father.
That's right.
Your father inherited and acquired it back in the 70s, the
Right.
radio station. But before we even get into the radio station itself, let's talk about, you know, the blues man, as they called him, right?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, my father, I am sitting here today with no hesitation, knowing that I am here because of him. And my father, like most people in Chicago, migrated here from the South, from Itta, Mississippi, back in the 40s and 50s. He drove cabs. He worked at the steel mill. A lot of black folks worked at the steel mill back there in the time. And he, during the time he was driving cabs, he often told the story about Prince and Joy. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you all. Prince and Joy was the McDonald's. It was black owned, but it was the McDonald's of Chicago before McDonald's. And it was right there at 35th. I think he said it was 35th and King Drive. There was a man on the air named Al Benson. He was the big DJ at the time.
Right.
And because Al Benson was promoting Al and Joy's hamburgers, my dad said it would be lines 2 and 3 blocks, people going to get these hamburgers. Prince and Joy was the name of it. And so my father then understood the power of media. If I could get people to move by using this microphone, then I could make money, right? And so what he did was he brokered a radio show for 15 minutes, WOPA, which is out in Oak Park, which is now V103, right? And he was on the air, and he caught the attention of Leonard Chess. And Leonard and Phil Chess were white Polish immigrants who came to Chicago and made good on the South Side in speakeasies. They made money on black folks. They were Polish immigrants, and they loved the blues. And my father played the blues. And so Leonard Chess became a fan of my father. So long story short, when Leonard and Phil bought a radio station, they started WVON. My father was the second DJ hired. And Leonard brought him over and put him on midnights because my father never really mastered the King's English. I shouldn't say that. He never lost his Southern twang, right? And so the sound that Leonard was building was more commercial. So Herb Kent was on at a prime time. You had other folks who, just had mastered the King's English and put my dad on midnight. My dad was on from 12 to 4 a.m. in the morning. He was one of the most popular disc jockeys ever in Chicago, playing the blues as Purvis Spann, the blues man. But my father was brilliant because during the day, he was bringing all the concerts to the Regal Theater. So he was Jam Productions. He was Jay-Z's concert, whatever it's called.
Right.
I can't think of the name of it right now, but he was who put the concerts on in Chicago. Him and another gentleman who worked at VON with him named E. Rodney Jones. And they were millionaires in their 30s. I never forget, I would go because they would be bringing Aretha Franklin, James Brown, the Motown Reviews, all of that was coming to the Regal Theater because of Purvis and E. Rodney Jones. And I remember as a young girl, I grew up in Englewood, and we would go in drawers, and just under our clothes would just be stacks and stacks of money, right? Because coming from the South, my father that's what they did.
Mattress money.
Mattress money, right? And so he did so well in his concert room. So the 12 to 4 worked out for him. And then they owned a club called the Burning Spear, which was at 55th and State, and that's where they brought Johnny Taylor and all the other acts. Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 won their first talent show at the Burning Spear.
Wow.
So it's a long legacy. I come from legacy, right? And so as AM radio started to lose its luster and GCI and all the other stations started, coming to fold, and the folks who Leonard Chess died in 1969. If you ever watch Cadillac Records, you'll see that he passed. And after that station, he bought that station for $1 million. He sold it for $9 million. Check it out, 7 years later. That's how popular they were in Chicago. VON was 1,000 watts and the #1 radio station, because that's the station that all black folks listen to. And so it's in the title, VON, Voice of the Negro. And we just never left it. And the reason that it still exists is when you understand your mission, why you're building it. What does Narragent stand for? Why'd you build it? What's in our core? What's in our mission? If you find a way to stay close to it, although how you deliver it may change in so many different ways, you stay close to your mission. You will always win. Mission never changed. Why you're there. Foundation of you.
So the Chess brothers, they start the radio station in 63.
By 69. Think about that.
Wow.
$9 million in 69 is a hell of a lot of money.
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
Even prior to 69, right? 1968.
Yeah.
Dr. King gets assassinated. Right. To my knowledge, Chicago's burning.
West side of Chicago's
Put
burning.
us into that day and the role that the radio played that day, April 4th, 1968.
So I was young, and here's what I heard. We were still living in our home on Englewood, 1345 West Marquette Road. And I only share that because my mother said she was heading out to get her hair done, and you could see the smoke billowing from the west side of Chicago. That's how, how powerful it was. And it was WVON who, took to the airways and asked them, stop burning, stop looting, and kind of brought calm as much as they could to the city of Chicago. Because back then, Mayor Daley, the Mayor Richard J. Daley, before the Mayor Daley we knew, was mayor, and he was saying shoot to kill. He was telling the police to shoot him and kill him because they were burning up Chicago. And VON was very integral in calming. People were just hysterical. And so what is amazing to me, guys, is y'all party there now. You go over to the West Loop, that's the area that was burned.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was the area that was burned. And then it turned into like a skid row. You know, it was the area that you wouldn't go to. It was just like prostitutes and everything. So to see now it become the center of the universe for Chicago's new social scene, you know, in business, Google and all of that over there is amazing. Because they really, it never came back. It went for 30, 40 years with just, you know, no attention to it. But that was the area that was burned.
Yeah. Wow. And is it true that Reverend Jackson called the station to report the news?
So Reverend Jackson reported Dr. King being dead. It's so amazing. These are the stories, interesting you asked that. These are the stories that the mass media miss. And this is why what you're doing and what VON stands for is doing is so important. Reverend Jackson, as you know, you see the pictures, he was there. And he said that he, you know, he got up and he wiped his hand. That's why the blood was on him, the way that it was. And he walked downstairs. This was the only hotel they could stay in. It was a black-owned. The Lorraine Hotel was black-owned. Here's something that people miss, though. He went and he called Coretta Scott to tell her. That was the first person he called. And the second place he called was VON. So Chicago was the first person to find out that Reverend Dr. King had been assassinated. But this is what Reverend Jackson told me later. The woman on the switchboard was the wife of the man who owned the Lorraine Dixon Hotel. He said he came through and he said, hey, wait a minute, Dr. King got shot. She fell dead. Yeah, it was 2 people dead. Now, she wasn't declared dead. She just never regained her consciousness. When they took her out of there that night, she never regained consciousness.
At the hotel?
At the hotel.
Just
the
in
woman
shock,
who owned the hotel was just in shock. Yeah. Isn't that something? Crazy. But how important that was. That's Reverend Jackson, the connectivity of Chicago, the power of Chicago. And people don't realize this, but Dr. King moved to Chicago in his last 2 years. He didn't just stay here because he was traveling, but Chicago had become so important to telling the black narrative of America because there were 1 million black folks had moved here. Many of them were poor. We were living in par housing, and any story to tell, you could tell it from Chicago, and it was a great lens into what was happening in Black America, and that's why Dr. King moved here on the west side of Chicago, and so it's so phenomenal how Black Chicago is a reflection of Black America.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So talk about, you mentioned legacy and history. Like I was playing around, you brought in your book today. I was like, one of our people on our team asked what it is. I was like, it's an almanac. Because I mean, it's literally history in a book and you are a part of it. Yeah. Can you speak about your why and what keeps you going after all these years and, you know, your father and you know all the greats. What keeps you going? What's your why?
That's a great question. You know what's important about being raised at a station like WVON?
Yeah.
Think about it. WVON raised me.
Yeah.
And because it's been such a historical place, and what I've seen Black Chicago at its finest. My first election I ever voted in was for Harold Washington.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of that planning and that strategy and that getting people out was done right there at that station, right? Yeah. So I was able to watch that. I know what my father and his partner Wesley South went through to get the station, right? And just to hear the callers, the intellect of many of the callers, the talent that has come through VON, the guests who have been on VON, talk about who we are as Black folks. It helped me understand Black excellence. I saw things get done. I saw what we could do. I saw the power of a movement. Yeah. So I didn't live in the 60s and the 70s, so I did live then, but I was very young, right? Right. But when I think Chicago, in terms of its Black power was the election of Harold Washington, because it was in his election that you got the most Black millionaires ever in this city. Wow. Came out of him being in office. And so when you look at Brandon Johnson being in office, it's beyond Brandon Johnson for us. Politics is about interest. And so VON has always been an activist station for social impact. Politics being one of them. Most cities don't do politics like Chicago does politics. Chicago's a political town, which is why you see now your fourth black mayor in the city. Why you see the first black female senator of these United States come out of Illinois, Chicago, right? And it's politics. And VON agitating. The thing about community radio, being community centric, is you're at the grassroots level. So you just agitating, you shaking the tree. And it is from there that the fire just kind of takes off. That's how a movement starts. Nothing grows from the top down. Things grow from the bottom up, right? This company you all building, bottom up, right? What this company is now, 5-10 years from now, something totally different, right? Nothing grows from the top down. And so that's why grassroots, community-centric, social impact is so important. It changes America, right? Barack Obama couldn't have done what Barack Obama did if he had come from anywhere else in this country.
Wow.
Chicago. It's rich, man. The soil of black excellence and this black community. We are not perfect. We are fractured. We are right now trying to find ourselves. But even where we are, we're so powerful. We're just so powerful, and we deliver. And people try to say, it's not there like it is. It's finding itself, but even at our lowest ebb, we're gonna beat out most towns, most cities, most places where we dominate. And they look to us. Yep. Atlanta is who Atlanta is because of Chicago. It really is. Watching the politics of Chicago, their tipping point was Maynard Jackson, who was the mayor and who made sure that there were black millionaires built around an airport. He had started at an airport, right? And from there, just millionaires just being developed. That and the fact that Atlanta is the educational epicenter for black folks. Morehouse, Spelman, Emory, all these Clark, all these schools. And what happens is, which makes them different, Chicago was work class, right? And so jobs that didn't require a lot of education was here, and that's how our folks came. And when I think we lost the educational edge that was once here, right? And the opportunity edge, because I think people, like what I admire both about you two is that you all stay in Chicago. A lot of your counterparts have probably moved to New York and California for opportunities, because a lot of people, I hear young people say the opportunity is not here the way it was. It was here for us in my generation, right? And my parents' generation. So we've got to get back to that. And that's where the politics of it is important, that we participate in that process to make sure that the interest, remember, politics is your interest, and that it's being taken care of so that we can raise our families and make money and get rich. Nothing wrong with being rich. Get rich, and right, and that opportunity. I went off on the tangent, but I was going somewhere.
Again, a masterclass with Melody, right? Talking radio, but we're really talking about Chicago. We're talking about life.
That's right. That's right.
Period. But I think that's very interesting what you just said, because it seems that our generation often, it's all about smoke and mirrors, for better or for worse. And this I word, the internet, of course, and microwave processors and so on. And it takes people like you, I believe, to really help deliver that context back into people's brains, so that they understand the meaning of, plant those seeds here. Because they're already here, really.
They're already here, man.
Recultivate them.
Exactly.
Opportunity
is where you create it.
That's it.
Opportunity is where you create it.
Absolutely.
And you said a lot of great things. What I hear for you is a strong sense of responsibility. These days we live in a world where people have platforms, right? Like back when WVON was first started, individuals didn't have the opportunity to have a platform, right? They had to go to people that did have a platform like WVON and other stations. Now people have the platforms on their phone. They are a platform. Can you speak about the responsibility of having a platform? A lot of people have the platform but don't want the responsibility. Can the two And I imagine they have to coexist.
Yeah.
Right? So will you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah.
How that is
Finding your balance.
Yeah.
You know, I like everybody else. I'm on my phone. I'm too much. I'm really going down a dark hole. My husband was telling me about that the other day. But I'm learning so much, and I'm staying young and relevant because you all help me stay young. So it's almost like a reverse internship, because we need you to survive.
Right.
Any media organization who's not watching you two, who's not watching companies like this, they're going out of business if they are traditional media, right? Because we know what we know.
Yeah.
But the world is changing. There's no longer just linear TV or linear radio.
Right.
That's, what we're doing right now is broadcast.
Yeah.
It's just a hybrid.
Right.
That's what it's called, a pod, right? I cannot not do this. I have to, I'm here with you today, but I've got to create podcasts for my broadcast in order to remain relevant, right? And so I think you have to be open to that. And I don't think that we are monolithic. I think there is a place for influencers who are clowning, and I'd be like, oh my God, stop. I think there are places for people like Roland Martin and Angela Rye, who's speaking truth to power, and Joy Reid and Don Lemon. I think what they've done, coming out of traditional media and realizing that white folks don't have to like you and pay you,
right?
But I can create my own narrative, right? So I'm excited about all of this, right? And so we have to allow it to evolve and then be comfortable going where we find comfort. Everybody's not gonna. I laugh at this woman who is turned into a comedian. You all know the money that they're making doing this, and she's like the church lady. You all seen her? She got the wig on, and she's.
I think so.
Oh my God,
yeah.
she tickles. I mean, she's amazing to me. So she's built a comedy routine, and she's filling up clubs.
Right.
Think about that, right? So I think this opens up a world of opportunity. I think it's too many people in it.
Oversaturated?
Yeah. My cousin called me from Detroit, cuz, you got to check out my podcast. Why? Why would I check out your podcast? I don't like talking to you when I'm on the phone. What are you talking about? In the basement smoking weed. Now, that's me. Somebody might like it, right? So I do think that there's, and I'll tell you something else. Excellence always rises. So all of this stuff that's not doing anything, it will land. They're going to run out of money, run out of business, run out of time, I hope, of doing nothing. And those of us who really committed, really offering something, really doing something to change the world, we will survive and rise. And so I'm feeling real good about what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. Some of it, like I said, it'll take care of itself.
Yeah. It's important.
You say black people are not monolithic.
No.
And then you also mentioned Don Lemon, which putting the connection there. I'm not sure if most people know, but Don Lemon is actually now moving into comedic content as well.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I believe he was just here last week at City Winery.
You all got to get him on here too. Y'all should bring him here next time he's here.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you all know that Don Lemon started? Well, he had been in another market, but he was in Chicago as an anchor.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Don Lemon
I just know CNN.
No,
that's all I know.
Don Lemon left Chicago going to CNN.
Oh.
He was a big anchor on Channel 5 on NBC.
Wow.
And he was red hot. I mean, Don Lemon was amazing and always been this renegade, right?
Yeah.
And he fell out with management at the station because he was always doing something. And I remember something about a stepping. I think the final straw was something about a story he had done about stepping. Stepping is everything in Chicago. And something happened and it just went wrong. But he was red hot in Chicago.
Interesting.
And this was before he, came out that he was, gay.
Yeah.
And so the women was just like lined up, for Don Lemon in Chicago.
Yeah.
But
Wow. Maybe we can get him in here New Year's Eve.
next time if he comes here, he does the show. He's cool as hell too. You will love Don.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
So I want to take a step back real quick from a history perspective, because we were kind of, making our way there. I want people that are listening and watching to really, truly understand the essence of what Midway and WVON
Thank you for that.
is, for sure. So, the station is founded in 63 by the Chess brothers.
Yeah.
By 69, you said, they sell it.
They sell it to the people who own the Palmer House.
Palmer
Hotel
House.
here.
Okay. So that's in 69.
Then it went to Gillette, the shaving cream people. I'm telling
As
you,
owners?
Yeah.
See, this is why we got
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy, right?
Okay.
It was just
How did that
big.
happen?
They were making so much money.
They were just buying stuff.
And people people who own businesses and they see something hot and they want to get into it. Yeah.
Right.
And then Gannett bought it. Gannett newspaper group.
Okay.
Bought it, right?
Okay.
And they changed, watch this, they changed the call letters to WGCI AM. They dropped the VON call letters and changed it to WGCI AM. So GCI was on the FM and the AM dial.
This is the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s, right?
Wow.
Okay.
So watch this. When my father and them filed for a radio station, when they found out that the VON call letters had been dropped, they filed the next day to get them. And
There you
that's
go.
how VON got back.
There you go. So
And
that's
was able to continue.
Okay. So that's 77 by the time. your
75,
father-
76, 77. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because they went on the air as a station called WXOL. So they had been on the air a couple of years before they got the call letters back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So mid 70s. Now it's in the family.
Yep, it's in the
We
family.
get into the 80s. You talked about the election of Harold Washington.
Yeah. Yep.
Talk to us about the role that the
Yeah.
station played in that.
Yep.
that
Tipping
time.
point. Because we were still music. We just had a nighttime talk show.
Right.
And so the station is, driving everybody to vote for this mayor. And at that time, guys, you got to understand, Chicago is still the largest, most segregated city in America.
Yeah.
To this day it is, right? But what was crazy was the white folks that lived on the north side of Chicago didn't realize that this man was getting ready to win an election. It was just 2 weeks before the election. They was like, oh, damn. What happened here?
It's too late now.
We was rolling. We were rolling, right? And he couldn't stop the train. And so Harold Washington wins, and we turn the station talk because AM is losing its luster, and so what else is it to do, especially at a time like this? And we used Kathy Hughes in Washington, D.C. as our guiding light. She had an AM station. Her call, so we were at 1450 at the time. 1450 WOL, she owned it in D.C. and she was kicking ass. And she was doing the show herself. She was on in the morning and Kathy was wreaking havoc on the Hill in D.C., right? Mobilizing black folks in Washington, D.C., voting and stuff. And so we looked at that as a model, and she was making money. And so that's when we switched to All Talk. And we've been All Talk ever since. Because if you think about it, AM now is, now 2/3 of the people who listen are listening on streaming. So it doesn't matter if you're on AM or FM because, we've got apps, we've got iHeart, we've got, we've got ways to reach and streaming. It's a better sound quality. But back then, AM was just sports, talk, news. BBM, number one, WLS, WGN, WVON, and ESPN. Right? That's all you had. That's all AM was. And so we found our niche, right, in that black talk, and we just rolled it out.
Wow. So, real quick, something I find most interesting about you explaining how you all turned to talk at that point, and this is the 80s still, right? The 80s is also when hip hop really came of age.
Yep.
And what I think about is that, at a time where it would have been maybe more comfortable to gravitate to this new thing called hip hop, you all gravitated to talk, where the popularity was shifting that to music, hip hop.
Right.
How was that?
Oh, that's a great question. So watch this. Being this vibrant city that it was, GCI had come on the air, and it was the new VON of radio. So then V103 came in the market in 1988. And so they're having a fight right? They are battling it out for pot position. Who's going to, and so all of that was taken care of. So they could play, all the hip hop and rap songs, and then we could talk about it, because then there was a war behind the scenes of hip hop. Of course, there were people like Jocelyn Tucker, who was attacking the hip hop community, because it was a while before it settled. Because of the women being called bitches and different things. There was a movement afoot to stop that, right? And so that was our conversation, was, how do we maintain the integrity? There was a movement by Al Sharpton and many other folks who said, no, you can't do this. And so we captured the controversy of that war between the generations, and who we were going to shake out and be as black folks. Yeah. Were we going to still be these people who, went to church and, listened to Motown or whatever, soul music, or were we going to really tell people our experience in this country? Yeah. That's what hip hop did. It took the covers off of this, perfect black America, and said, no, this is on this side. This is how we really living. Yeah. And everybody didn't want to tell that story, because they had fought so hard to change the story. Right. And that's where the war really came in. Yeah. And in the older folks, the old guard was trying to protect how America looked at us, and young folks who were saying, no, tell them the truth. This is my reality. Revolution will not be televised. We're going in the streets. We're going to tell you what this looks like growing up in Harlem. And you all know the songs. You all know who they were. But it was quite, I remember Farrakhan coming, having a summit here in Chicago, bringing the rappers here. And them having, again, Chicago, right? He was here. He had the power to do it. They respected him. Yeah. And they shut down in a room and had huge conversations about this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So keep us on that trajectory, right? So that was the 80s, and then going to the 90s. Yeah. And how did things transform from there, evolution-wise?
So us agitating, here comes Barack Obama, right? Barack Obama was a little different from the politicians that were here. And he used the station. Barack Obama not only would call in, he would host shows at the station. Oh, wow. Because he was not from Chicago. And so a lot of people, here was this Hyde Park, clean cut, dynamic young dude. He very methodical in his thinking. He wasn't rhyming and all that shit people do in politics. He was different. And
he had swag too.
He had swag, smooth, right? And so he was very close to the station and used it and in his campaigning. Barack Obama, when he ran for state senator, ran against an old guard female senator, Mary Smith, I think was her name. And she decided she was going to run for Congress. Then when she decided she wasn't going to win, she came back and wanted Barack Obama to get out the race so she could get her seat back. And then we started this war, because all of us young folks was like, oh, no, it was our turn, right? No, we were supporting Barack, and the old guard was like the Lou Palmers of the world, and a lot of the old guards who had been around for long, they were not feeling him, right? So subsequently, he stayed in the race and he won. Then the next thing was he ran against Bobby Rush for congressman. It was his first defeat. Bobby Rush wore him out. Smoked him, right? Best thing could have happened. And then he decided to run for Senate, and the rest was history. But what I'm simply telling the story is because it shows you the power of media in helping people define themselves, getting people to get to know you, and you're in that right environment where this grassroots is, where we're agitating, where we're growing, and where we're moving. And so the station was instrumental in that. But any movement, anything that has come out this city, we've just been the essential storyteller. And that's why we're still around. And that's why we're still important. Remember what I told you, my father said, stay at your mission. Whenever you get confused about what I need to do next, let's go back and open that mission statement up. Why did we say we were in here? And so you just keep evolving. It's why I'm so married to maintaining the station in its present form of being a storyteller. Think about it. We were in the content business long before everybody else was. We was doing content back in the 80s. Think about that, right? That's all we're doing.
Yep, creating content.
That's it. We're just creating content. And now how we aggregate it, how we send it out, what we talk about, how we remain relevant.
Yeah.
Is important.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for you and what you've built, not because you built it, right? It exists. There's a lot of entities, a lot of brands, a lot of companies that are hundreds of years old, right?
Yeah.
But I respect you and what you built because you're able to have built that, but also are still around and being open-minded to change and understanding. Because you, as I'm hearing you speak and tell your stories, you had to evolve when things happen. Like,
Absolutely.
it might have been felt micro back then, but now it's macro and it will continue to evolve. So can you speak about that, like the importance of evolution to our listeners and our viewers in terms of that feel like they are in one lane and how to continue to have that longevity and that importance of evolution?
Yeah. You know what? That is so powerful what you just said, because I think about, and people often think about, what has allowed this station to live, be there longer than any of us in here. I mean, the station was on the air when I was born, right? So what makes it tick? What makes it live?
Yeah.
And here's what I've realized. It is not the station. Call letters powerful. It's not these cameras, these mic. It is the ability to serve community. It's the community. It's what it is. We got an audience.
Yeah.
I just had the best conversation with Nielsen last week, right? Because we pay Nielsen a lot of money to tell us we'll have any listeners.
What's Nielsen?
Nielsen Audio, which is the rating system tell you who's the number one station. Number two, they get to they help determine how much money you're going to make, right?
Right.
So we pay them to tell us we don't have any listeners. Right? It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And we've been doing it for years. Wow. But it's becoming more apparent because as their methodology change and how they collect their data. Like, here's what Nielsen does. They've got 2,400 meters to cover all of Chicago to determine what's the number one station in Chicago.
Right.
If you don't have those meters, then that means you don't have any listeners.
Right.
But I just had a seniors breakfast with 1,000 people there, right? And I told the man, I said, listen, are you lying now or what am I supposed to tell these people they're invisible? And you got to perfect this to show that people matter, right? So the fact that we have an audience, who is your audience? What I told my cousin, who's listening? I don't want to listen to you. Who's there? What's evidence of your audience? What is the evidence of your impact? What's the evidence of your impact? It's going to tell you if you're relevant or not. Station is able to stay around because we're still making a difference in people's lives. The fact that we're radio is secondary to me.
Wow.
I'm not a radio station. It's what I use, right? To have impact.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's that secondary in that. If you really dig down on what are you doing? Who are you? Then you'll realize, okay, the company that I think I am, I'm really not. That's not who we are. This is who we are. That's why we matter to people.
Yeah.
Why do you matter? That's when people ask, what's your why? You got to define that.
Wow.
Got to define that.
Yeah.
You can't define that. You got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
That's so real, what you just described. And I think you're the best person to describe the context of the numbers, the analytics, because you live in a traditional media space, right? And as we know, as you know, media's come of age, we hear about analytics. People get so caught up in it, for better or for worse. And
it's worse because they can't explain. They be lying.
They can't explain it.
Be lying their ass off.
Yeah.
I got 1 million listeners. How you get 1 million? Right?
Yeah.
But it's what they come up with, right?
I kid you not. I was at a dinner weeks ago with this guy who works in analytics at Meta,
right?
The Facebook company. That's his world. And one of the things he led with was how he hates analytics. And he hates dashboards because what you just described, right? The 1,000 people in a room offline at a seniors breakfast, right? That's nothing a dashboard is gonna be able to
tell you, right?
And how dare you call us inefficient when I don't know a radio station in Chicago that's going to deliver that. That's the social impact part.
Yeah.
That's my secret sauce.
Yeah.
Is my ability to connect to this community in such an intimate way that if I ask them to do anything, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Most radio stations don't have that power. They don't have that relationship with their audience. They don't have that partnership, that investment in the audience, right? So how are you making yourself how are you positioning yourself to be a necessity, essential?
Wait, say that part again. How are you positioning yourself to be a necessity?
That's it. Think about it. When COVID happened, you remember they kept saying essential workers.
Right.
So my team, I had to tell them, y'all got to work because y'all essential workers, right? But what it also allowed you to do was take a look at your staff to find out, who can I live with and without? Isn't this a good time to unload? It's a good time to unload, right? Who's essential? What's important in your what is your business standing on? As the world shrinks, how can we survive? What can we get rid of that we don't need? Because it's fluff in all of it, right? And so that's when I went through the recession of 2008, 2009, and I tried to keep my staff together, and I was telling them, your check's gonna be late because ain't no money coming in, but I want to keep us together because ain't no jobs out there. Guess what? I was still a bad guy because their checks was late. They couldn't understand it after I told them. So come 2020, you know what happened?
What's that?
When they said you can lay off folks, and I was like, okay, y'all better leave. Here's the 5 people that I'm going to unload, because they weren't essential players. I kept the best of the best, right? And I was able to downsize. It's what corporations are doing right now. Yeah. They know that this economy is in trouble. So they're taking this time, and a lot of them got so much money, guys, but they're taking this time to unload, right? And to make more money. And so you have to really understand, you have to read the opportunity, read the season, read the moment, know what's important, know when to take advantage of opportunities, when to unload, when to lean in, when to add, when it's something so powerful that you're willing not to get paid to bring it on. When you finding that person that you know you need on your team, and I'm going to make this sacrifice, and you want that person. You know why? Because eventually they will pay for themselves. Always hire the person you cannot afford. Because if they are who they say they are and who you believe they are, they're going to pay for themselves and more. They're going to help you get rich, right? But all them hanger-ons, they just waiting on the payday. They not willing to unload. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that. I was been talking. It's the end of the year, right? So you talk to people about like, oh, what have you learned, or what's something you took from this year? And force you to go back January, February, March, April. But one thing that always comes to me and us is this year has been a year of like shedding, right? And when you shed, sometimes it feels not just business wise, but just internally everything, right? It's a shift, right? A lot of everything has been shifted. You mentioned businesses that make a lot of money, cuts and things of that nature. So it's important that you say that, because shedding isn't a bad thing. It allows you to see things clearer and understand, like you said, what's really important.
And it's not personal.
And it's not.
Shedding is not, it's happening to everybody.
Yeah.
How you react to it. I tell you, in Mr. Johnson, if you ever read John Johnson's book, he said he would turn over a majority of his staff every 10 years. Think about that.
Wow.
Every 10 years. People get comfortable. They're not thinking, they're not enthused, they're not bright-eyed, bushy-tailed about the company the way they used to be. Nice time to bring in some new talent. Cycle them out. That's right. Yeah. Now your core, who is there for the long haul, he had employees like that, but that's not a bad move. It sounds terse, but it happens. And it's what corporate America does. Corporate America cares nothing about telling you this is your last day, especially when you get around 49 or 50.
Wow.
You've done your best work. You're starting to cost the company too much, right? They can give you a good package. Well, at least you think it's good, right? And you're out the door. The other side of that, though, is it is hard for that 50-year-old to go and get them another job because of the funnel. It's folks coming in after them, costing less, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, new ideas. So this is what corporate America is doing now, especially now more than ever with the administration being in office the way that it is. Yeah. But what an opportunity for us. Yeah. What an opportunity for us. Because you're starting to get some talent that ordinarily wouldn't even look at you. Yeah. They're there, right?
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to touch on, this year has been a year, right?
Yeah.
Can you speak to Black business owners in whatever sector that are feeling a little troubled about this year, like disappointed or whatever the case, right?
I was trying to do a LinkedIn video about this.
Okay.
I got a message for you.
This is your opportunity.
So now you can just give me a piece of this tape. Right. So let me tell you how I started this year. I was caught off guard. Yeah. I was caught off guard with this year because, since the George Floyd thing, we've been doing well because, these ad agencies start lying, talking about they were going to be committed for life and they were going to do the right thing, and they did. And even back then I was asking them, is this a movement or is this a moment? Right? Because I know that I've been around long enough to know, right, the difference. And I kind of figured it would be a moment, but no, it was the movement. It was not a movement. And so when the politics of last year happened and we knew everything was happening, I hadn't made an adjustment. I just hadn't, because I knew what was coming, but I didn't think it would come so quickly. And this disruption is so fast and furious that it is throwing everybody off. Everybody is off their square. So my best advice for entrepreneurs right now is that you start reimagining your business. Start looking, not going out of business or thinking that you got to do something different, but just think outside of the box about your business. That's it. Business is about creativity. It is about you understanding that there are many roads that will get you to success. You've tried this road and it's been a good one, right? There's other ways. Give you a perfect example. Back in the 90s, 2000s, people don't realize this. How did I survive in the third largest media company as this little independent player? 55% of our revenues was in event marketing. It was the fact that I could give a festival, a financial seminar, a business breakfast, those things that ain't even radio related, right? It was my secret sauce. And I kind of got away from it because I got comfortable. We're in the content business, right? Next year, I'm getting back in them streets. And my seniors breakfast that I hadn't had since COVID brought out 1,000 seniors. You know what I learned? They were different seniors. They wasn't those ones in the wheelchairs anymore. They were the ones that, like me, I ain't no senior, not yet, and I'm working on it, right? But these were younger folks, younger seniors, 70 who think they 50. And they had a day party. They turned the seniors breakfast into a day party.
Not
right?
A day party.
A day party. They had a blast.
Now,
right?
who's chaperoning this event?
You should have been chaperoning because you should have seen them, right? But watch this. All the sponsors that came out, the sponsors that I got added on, if I had not done that, I would have left that money on the table this year. You got to think differently about your business. Times like disruption is the best thing that could ever happen to business. It's the best thing could ever happen to young entrepreneurs because it makes you think. When we are uncomfortable, we start thinking a whole bunch of crazy stuff, right? Yeah. And you throw some of that stuff on the wall and it will stick. And so that's why I'm so excited. I'm so fired up about 2026. I'm so freaking fired. I'm going to make so much money next year. I done figured it out, right? Because it's just stuff that I've done. But going and tell you another thing, stop talking to your clients on that damn computer. Get up, go see your clients, sit down with them, tell them what's new, tell them what's happening in your business. People want to see you succeed. I really believe that. And we've gotten so connected to, I love a virtual meeting now. I do. I love a virtual meeting more than anybody. But what I've done this last quarter is I've gotten in the face of my clients. And guess what? I'm learning from them and they're learning from me. I started WVON TV 5 years ago. I've been talking about it on here. When I get in their faces and I take my production manager, and I take the videographer, and I take shows that are there. They're like, wow. Now, I've been telling them about this on here, and I've been showing, but because I've connected with them.
Yeah.
So think about different ways of connecting with folks. Get out. Network. Stop going to the Urban League dinner, eating chicken and dancing and shit. Find you 4 or 5 people in that room who you need to connect with. Right?
True
Who's
story.
in charge?
True story.
Tell it.
This is how we met you. We
There you
were
go.
at the Urban League
There you
Gala
go, right?
last year.
Right.
Eating chicken and shit.
You
And guess what? We got our butts
come
up
on.
out that seat.
I'm sitting right here.
Walked over to you. Who else was over there?
Louis.
Carr was over there. Who else did we meet? There was someone else, but nonetheless, you know, that was our introduction to you,
That's
face to
it.
face, right here, and that's why we're sitting here right now.
Strategic networking
A year later.
is the most powerful tool for young folks.
Yep.
I don't know if you all are doing that effectively enough. I do it now. I done got old. Let me tell you my tip. Can I tell you my tip?
Let's do it.
I find out who's going. I find out who's going to be in the room.
Yep.
Right? If did I tell y'all about my American Airlines story? Tell you, but this is it. My strategic
do it. Tell us.
strategic networking. The president of American Airlines was coming to Chicago, and I'd been wanting to do business with American Airlines forever. It's one of my favorite airlines. And one of my friends had a consulting contract with them. So she wasn't invited to the private breakfast, a meetup that was happening, but she told me where it was, right? And so I find out that I know somebody who is has been hired to manage it. And I'm like, girl, put me on the list, right? Put your girl on the list, right? Your network is your net worth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Melody, fine, because there are media people coming. I go to this place. I get in there, but before I go, I Google him. That's the other thing. As you are strategically networking, you got to figure out who these people are, right? And what they like and what they do, right? So found out he went to University of Michigan, right? And so my husband always, whenever he sees somebody go to University of Michigan, he says, go blue. I don't know what go blue means, but I hear him say that. So I go to this breakfast, and all of the big wigs at American is there, and I know who I'm looking for. I'm looking for the president. He walks in walks Ricketts, who owns the Cubs. All the Chicago's there, all the big wigs. He done pulled out everybody, right? So I stood in line, and the people are talking, and I walked up to him, finally, when my turn came. And I looked at him, and I said, go blue. What did I say that for? Oh my God. Oh my, I had him, right? I had this brother, right? I didn't go talking about I'm Melody Spann-Cooper on Midway Broadcast Corporation. He don't want to hear that, right? And so we started this great dialogue. Long and short, I got the business, right?
Wow.
They're partners of ours. I got one better though. This is my favorite. I got to tell this one before we run out of time.
All right.
Jamie Dimon. Everybody knows Jamie Dimon.
Morgan Chase.
JP Morgan Chase. Jamie Dimon is the man. Jamie Dimon used to live in Chicago because Chase second largest headquarters is here,
Oh, right.
right? So watch this. Chicago Sun-Times, front of the newspaper. This man makes $44 million in one day. They're talking about Jamie Dimon, right? He had turned in some stock, made this money. We're sitting at a restaurant here at 14th and Michigan. You know where Scouts is in the South Loop? I don't know if you all realize, but it was another name of a restaurant. Anyway, me and my girls are sitting there, and here comes 10 Cadillacs. Boom, boom, boom. Guess who pops out? Jamie Dimon, right? Him and his friends. They come in, they go in the back. I'm like, I'm sitting right here till Jamie Dimon come back out. Because I had met Jamie Dimon before because of a business organization I was in Chicago. Yeah. Jamie Dimon walks out. I see him. I said, hey, Jamie. He looks. I said, come here. Because he's cool. Jamie, if you ever meet him, Jamie Dimon cool as hell. So Jamie Dimon comes over. I said, and so immediately my friends, one owned a media company. Hermine Hartman owns Indigo. Hermine started talking about her scholarship, right? The other girl owned a marketing company. She started talking about her marketing company. I looked at him. I said, Jamie, I want you to teach me how to make $44 million in one day. You know what he said? Call me tomorrow. Whoa. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Right? The moral of my story is stop talking to these people about you when you meet them. Yeah. Talk about them. They don't want. I mean, find a way to connect. You're gonna get to you. Trust me, you will. But you got to find a way to connect to them that means something, right? So just remember that. That is how I network. That's why people like me. And that is really how I've been able to survive in this third largest market, is this little independent media company, because of my relationships. It's everything in business.
Yeah.
Everything.
Wow.
That's how you win friends and influence people.
That's right. And they'll remember you. What's going to make Jamie Dimon or the president of American Airlines remember you? Remember you, two dynamic young men.
Yeah. No better example, too, than Jamie Dimon, because he's completely unapologetic about telling people, take your butts back into the office.
That's it.
Ain't no working from home.
I was so happy that he did
Working
that.
from home is working on the weekend.
That's my
in the
point.
evenings. Ain't no work from
See,
home
me and him
day.
right there. That's my point.
Yeah. That's funny, too, just that approach as well, because we had a moment like this back a few weeks ago at an event.
Tell me about it.
So there's this guy that is on stage speaking during a fireside chat. And this was more in real time than doing my homework ahead of time, like this ideal. But as he's talking, I'm on his LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, okay, what he got going on?
Right.
You know, the good part about LinkedIn too is you can see people's birthdays. If you click if you click the right dots and get to that right section,
You got to show me how to do that.
you can see people's birthdays.
Right.
So I'm like, well, just December 10th. His birthday is December 10th.
What day was it?
It was November.
Okay.
But guess when my birthday is?
December 10th.
December 9th. This is
That's
a real
an end.
story.
That's an end.
So fast forward, probably an hour later, he's done with his fireside chat and he's out, you know, mixing and mingling, and we just strike up a conversation. As a matter of fact, we inserted ourselves to one he was already having, just very organically, right? And it's the guy that he's having a conversation with that at some point, me and him are having a side conversation. As we're talking, the guy says something like, mid-sentence, he's like, yeah, I'm not sure how old you all are. And I'm like, birthday's December 9th. It's coming up. And I'm talking to this guy, not the one that's really my target.
Right.
And I'm telling him, like, birthday, December 9th. So at that point, it's late November. So it's, you know, it's coming up.
Right.
That guy hears me. He said, when did you say, what, your birthday's December 9th?
Yeah.
What up?
Right.
I'm Sagittarius. And that
Ding,
was
ding,
the,
ding, ding, ding.
that was the icebreaker.
That's it.
That was the icebreaker.
That's it. It ain't in the, you know, I'm the CEO of Narajan or anything. It is that which
That's all
connects you, the
gibberish.
human spirit.
Yep.
Every time we'll get it. Because they hear all that. Everybody that's coming up to them is telling them that. Nothing to remember you about that, right?
Yeah.
But your birthday,
Oh, yeah.
it's my connection, right?
Yeah. Because people are human.
They
You know?
starts every day. They put their shoes on like you, all that stuff, just like you, right?
No, that's super. That's a gem. I'm happy that we understand that. But I love what you said about getting off of the internet, because the internet, you can make a lot of money on the internet. You've made a lot of money on the internet, but that human connection is so important. So I'm happy that our viewers and our listeners are hearing that.
Yeah.
Like, the internet is powerful, but it's the most potent relationships happen off of the internet.
That's
right?
it.
You got to be able to pour into that.
Imagine having a lunch with somebody. You sitting down and you're talking, right? You're going to find out about their kids. You're going to find, just stuff that becomes important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So take advantage of that. Really take advantage of that ability to connect.
Yeah.
You know who else taught me this? You all may have never heard of this gentleman, Vernon Jordan. Vernon Jordan was probably this country's largest corporate person in Black America.
Okay.
He passed maybe 10 years ago, but he was Bill Clinton's best friend. You see the black guy that's always with him.
He was a black guy.
Yeah,
Bill
he
Clinton?
he was head of the National Urban League. He was the dude, right? He was on the board of all these boards, right? And Vernon Jordan, we brought him in for our business breakfast, Hermine and I did one year, and we got a chance to, he just got a lot of young folks, we got a chance to go out and pick his brain. He said the most powerful thing you can ever do is have a dinner party. Have a dinner party, ain't got to be fancy. Just have dinner parties at your house. Invite people, because that is where it's your safe space, it's your intimate space. And when they come in it, your energy's there. They're having a meal that's made out of love or something that you prepared, right? And you're just getting to know them. You're just getting to know them. You might not close the deal that night, but you closed the deal that night because you had that dinner party. And ever since then, I have a dinner party every year and mix people up. Yep. Yeah. Every year. And because when that happens, you for sure are going to next level if you work it. if you follow up.
Right. Yeah.
Got to do dinner parties, bro. We
That's
Dinner
it.
party. Well, we going to Melody's dinner party this year. No,
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can.
True story. We met the first black billionaire
Where?
at a dinner party. Not
see
in
what
no
I'm telling you?
boardroom, not at a conference. It was in somebody's kitchen
There you go.
at a dinner party.
That's right.
Wow.
And the conversation is totally different
Yep.
than it would have been if you had met him virtually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally different.
Super, yeah. Wow. You dropping nuggets to this,
Come
man.
on
This-
now.
This might be my favorite episode.
Come on,
I'm not
Can we
man.
gonna
keep it
lie to you.
rolling? Can we keep it rolling?
Keep
Is that okay?
rolling.
All right, so I know I kind of keep going back to this historical
Go
thing,
ahead.
but
No,
I
that's
mean,
important.
again, there's a lot of context. So, you know, you started right before Melody the Entrepreneur. You started at 15,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know if your pops pulled you along or pushed you along or a little
Yeah.
bit of both,
Yeah.
but somewhere between then and 99, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is when you
I bought
officially became the owner.
Yeah.
Can you put us into that?
Oh wow, yeah.
period of time,
yeah,
that
sure I
phase?
can. So at 15, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I was in private school, but I love my friends, right? And all my friends were not on the same trajectory as I was, but they were my friends. And I think my dad, he was in the streets enough to know what was materializing. So he made me go to work to distract me. Right. And so he gave me a job on Saturday nights. Who 15-year-old want to be at work on Saturday? That was the only night I worked was Saturday night. Is that crazy?
Strategic on his part. I'm sure.
Strategic. And I did that till I was 19 years old. And then I have rheumatoid arthritis and have had it since I was 19 years old. You can look at my hands and see it. And so that was the only time that I got to sit down. I was in college, and for 3 months I was just out of pocket. And then when I got back, I went right to work, graduated, went right to work, and I have managed to work in every position in that radio station. My father and his business partner did not like each other. They couldn't stand each other. They worked at WVON together, but when they got into business, it just did not work, right? And but his partner was very fond of me. He had a daughter that who was a lawyer. She was a little older than me, but Mr. South really took to me. And to be honest, Mr. South was who taught me the business of radio. My dad was a born entrepreneur, so I got the DNA of him.
Right.
And my dad was a different kind of entrepreneur. Like, if nobody got paid, Purvis did. That's just who he was. He came from the South, right? So he wasn't about order or building that kind of way, right? He wanted to make money, but that wasn't important to him. Right. Mr. South understood structure. He understood business, and he taught that to me. And they would fight. They would have board fights, right? And they would kick each other out of the business. But I was the only one that would stay. I mean, Mr. South never fired me.
Kick each other out of the business.
He
Like
kicked
that Morgan Freeman and the other guys that scene in Lean on Me. Like that type of
They get on the board, and then they kick. One of them would get with the other board members and kick that one out. And then 3 years later, the one would come back and kick the other one out. And my dad got kicked out one time for 3 or 4 years, but Mr. South and I were there, right? So long and short, they went to court, and they'd been in court for years. And the court respected the work I was doing. Now I'm 24, 25 years old. And the court respected the work that I was doing so much that they made me the receiver of the company. So neither Mr. South or Purvis could tell me what to do. I just got to run the company, right? And I just started building the company. It got better because they weren't involved, right? Now this is why I tell you how important this station is to Chicago and really to Black America. There was a judge, because in the Chancery Division of courts, they solved things by selling them off. They didn't want to sell the station off because that was a no-win for this community. And how do you tell somebody that you're selling VON off, right? And so they carried this out for about 5 years as the receiver. They get a new judge. The case stayed in there so long, the judge retired.
Got sick of their stuff.
Yeah, they did. And let me tell you, we were fortunate because something similar was happening at the Defender. They were at the Northern Trust, and it went bonkers. Right?
Yeah.
Ours was and I'm gonna tell you why ours maintained. We did it in silence. Their fight was very public. The defenders' fight was very public. It was in the news every day. Nobody even knew we were fighting. Anyway, long story short, we get this new judge, young girl, young white girl, dynamic, Judge Nowicki, never forget her. She comes in court and she's looking at this stack and she's looking at Mr. South is about 90. My dad was 75 and I'm like 27, 28. And she's looking and she's like, what is this, right? And she's like, I'm not doing this. And so one day she just turned to me and she said, because there was some minority shares that would give you the majority control, because my father had defaulted on his buyout of the minority shares. So the minority shares would give you control of the company. Yeah. So one day she looked at me and she said, Melody, can you buy it? Right? And I'm like, absolutely. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get this money, right? I'm like, absolutely, I can buy it, right? And my father and Mr. South are looking at me like, you. They were livid.
Whoa.
They were freaking livid.
So they were on the same page about that.
Yeah, they were
reaction.
like, did she just do that to us?
This is in the
right?
middle of court?
In the middle of court, right? So then, long story short, me and my husband went home, refinanced our house, because this is stuff you do when you're playing the big game of business. Refinanced, there was some other stuff in the middle of it as well, but refinanced the house. Long and short, I ended up buying the minority shares, and the minority shares had my father's proxy, had his voting proxy. So I own 15% of the shares, but I own 51% of the voting. That is how I ended up being in control. Wow. To this day, that is what it is, how it's designed.
It's crazy.
15% of the shares and 51% of the vote. But watch this. You think about this stuff. If you all are spiritual, you will all understand that God is in all of it. Long before we got to that court thing, it was being set up. It was being designed to this day. Nobody can do anything about it. Right? Even my business partner, who I love, Mr. South's daughter, she's not in the business at all. But think about that. 49%. And we support one another in this because she don't want to be bothered, right? But that is the power of why you have to, when God says go, go, when he says no, no, you know what I mean? You got to, some things get out of your control. Just some things, if you all ever try to do something and you cannot figure out how to make it work, you got to know that it's for your good. It's just not meant to work. Not right now. Because of where you're going,
they can't go.
It can't go.
Wow.
It's got to do something different. And that's, along the way, that's what I've learned. What I've learned with the stock. Think about that. Way back then, this was being worked out.
Yeah.
Who knew? And so I paid for it, and then everybody just kind of got along because they had no choice. Yeah. Right? And so that's how I got control of it. And think about it. It was perfect. Can you imagine a 90-year-old and a 75-year-old running it just wouldn't work. Yeah. But I was young. I was in, Chicago's big city, small town. I had connections. I was doing the civic thing to make connections and to sell the station. I was bringing in young talent and I was doing what I needed to do to grow it. Yeah. Right. And so now we've got WVON, we got a Spanish station, and we got WVON TV. And now I'm tired.
Right. You know what you're going to do before you retire? You know what we're going to do?
What?
We are going to make a movie about your story, like a documentary.
Well, funny you ask.
Right.
Well, absolutely. First of all, not just about my life. My life is, but let's not let history not tell the story of WVON. Think about that.
The entire thing.
Soul Train. I mean, just think about all of this stuff that came out of that. And so, to your point, and I want. So we're gonna do this, right? But Orion Films, the young lady who owns it, who is the president of it. Right. You all know her. She's from Chicago. Why am I forgetting her first name? Mayo. She's the president of Alana Mayo. And she's from Chicago. Her father was Barry Mayo, who ran V103. And she was born here and, was in you all space and became the president of Sony Pictures, which is now Orion Pictures. And I was asked last month to introduce her. And this is what was so funny. The people that was trying to find me, and I never saw the email. And so they were like, they asked somebody, you know Melody? And the girl said, yes. The girl called me. She said, we want you to introduce Anya. And I'm thinking about this story. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I changed my flight to come back and introduce her. Anyway, charming young lady, still has family here. And she said, make sure, because I told her, I said, I want to do this. But we got to tell this story, guys. Yeah. And you all's connection to somebody like her, because she's y'all's age. She's young. She's dynamic. Yeah. It's just one dot away. Yeah. One connection away. And it could be this. Right. But somebody, don't tell it for me. Tell it for Black America. Yeah. That this station saw bared witness to all of this. One other thing that I want to say, Million Man March. Think about that. Y'all ever heard of Million Man March?
Of course.
Okay. We've been to
we actually attended
20th
the
anniversary.
I love it. I love
2015.
it. Well, when those 2 million men in 1995, the biggest contingency, of course, came from Chicago, right? Farrakhan was here, started the movement, spread it out. We're smack dab in the middle of that, right? Agitating, telling a story, building an argument. Building an audience, building an army. I don't ever want to say that I'm not like some people want to act like, they discovered America. We didn't do that. But on that fringe, on that ability to make things happen, on that ability to be a part of history, can't write history in Chicago and not include us. And that's why it's important to tell. Man. Just give me a little cameo, just my little moment. But the bigger story is the lives it impacted, and the change that it made, and the ability that this essential storyteller made a difference in not just Black Chicago, but Black America.
I'm fired up. Man. I'm about to start getting writing the script right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's a story worth telling.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So before we wrap, Melody, there's one more story / lesson that is personally my favorite that we picked up from you. It's this adage that presidents talk to presidents. Right. So when we talk about entrepreneurship and beyond entrepreneurship, just leadership holistically, right? Communication can be huge. And you have this story you tell your own experience of learning what that truly means. And I think that that's something. Which
one of the presidents talk to presidents story you like the best? The Tom Burrell? Which one do you want me to tell?
Both.
I have 3. Because did I tell you about the one at school when the lady got my car towed?
Nah.
Okay. No. All right. Well, that was the president talk to president.
You told us,
Okay.
About the one with well, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, so I'll tell the one to Tom Burrell because we talked about it right before. So funny. Tom Burrell, there was a car, the RAV. You remember the Toyota RAV had come out? Mm-hmm. And the newspaper had printed this story of a Black person with a gold tooth, and the RAV was the
grill.
Like the grill, right? Black community went crazy, right? So we covering this on WVON. We making all kind of noise. Boycott Toyota, right? Mm-hmm. Just spread across the country. Everybody was doing it, right? So long and short, Burrell ends up with the Toyota account. Matter of fact, they started, I think the company who was the advertising company became a partner of Tom Burrell's, right? Because Tom Burrell was the storyteller in terms of marketing and advertising. So we are trying to get advertising because we felt like, well, hell, we were part of why we started this fight, right? Mm-hmm. So we couldn't get any money. We couldn't get any Toyota money after we did all of this, right? So I'm like livid. We going down, we having meetings with the folks and talking to them. Ain't nobody paying us any attention. Yeah. So now this young girl, I'm 30-something years old. I have had it. I'm going to turn my power up. I'm tired of talking. I'm going to show you what I can do. Mm-hmm. So I'm like getting on the radio, call Burrell Advertising, 312 da-da-da-da-da. I'm giving out the phone number. Shut the business down for a day. They couldn't get no calls. The people are losing their minds, right? Tom Burrell is livid. He is livid. He calls Reverend Jackson, and and so Reverend's like, well, Melody, what you over there doing, So I'm like, Reverend, that's not right. You taught us to fight. And I can't understand why I'm not getting any money. And so Reverend says, well, I want you and Tom to sit down and talk. Y'all can have this conversation. So I had never met Tom Burrell in my life. I don't even think I told y'all this part.
No.
I'd never met him in my life. So here I go. I'm going over there. And here comes this fine, stately, tall man, and I just wanted to sink in my chair. I'm like, oh Lord, I can't even be mad at him, right? Because he was old and he was distinguished. When a man gets old and he just gets sophisticated. I'm like, oh my God, Tom Burrell. But anyway, so we sitting down there and Reverend's doing his thing, and Mr. Burrell, he's sitting there. And, a life lesson. And so during the conversation, I'm explaining to him how upset I am. And so he just kind of looks at me and he says, Melody, presidents talk to presidents, right? And what he's basically telling me is, you might feel, like I'm not on your level, but your power is not, you could have solved this without doing all that. Presidents talk to presidents. So you're never too young to out of pocket to meet people where they are. And so from that point on, the only person I call in a company when I'm having a problem is the president, whether they know me or not. Presidents talk to presidents. You all are presidents and CEOs of this company. You all have a right to call the president of Meta, of anybody else, right? And feel emboldened by it because you have a common DNA. You know what that is? The power and authority to make a decision. To make something change. Everybody else ain't got that. They probably got to go check with it. You don't need to talk to them. You don't need to talk to the gatekeeper, nobody else. Talk to the president. 9 times out of 10, though, you may not get that president. You might get their executive assistant, right?
Yeah.
They have the power to get it fixed for you, right? But just the fact that you are in the president's office.
Yeah.
And so he helped me understand my power and to rise up and not be intimidated and not feel inferior to any man, right? Because I'm the president. That is my title. That's in my title. That's in my professional birthright.
Yeah.
Right? So own it.
Yeah, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
With that said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this has been, like I said, it's one of my favorite episodes.
Oh, I love it.
I love we love how vibrant you are. You call us
so
vibrant,
cool.
you're vibrant and just ageless, Listen,
so I think
it's
that. Well, I love
so
you guys.
Yeah,
I think you all are so dynamic. I think what you're doing is so spot on. I've seen your work. It's incredible work.
Thank you.
I'm watching you. I'm learning from you. And we learn from each other.
Yeah.
And, you all are the type, and I tell you all this all the time. I realize that I have a business that what happens with black businesses is the owner stays too long and you die.
Right.
And then you be thinking your kids, your little kids that don't care nothing about your business is going to run your business.
There's no succession plan.
None. My father lucked up, right? Well, think about it. He's got 4 children and I'm the only one in the business.
Wow.
And that happens. We have generational businesses in Chicago. And I think the important thing about what God has blessed my family with is an institution. And it's not being built as a legacy to the Spann family or anything. It is an institution and it deserves to live beyond me.
Of course.
And so when I see you all come up, I see a future for my company, right? Because I know that it can be in good hands.
Yeah.
Because there's young folks out here that see it, respect it, feel it, understand it, have building capacity to be able to take it to the next level. That's when you have a big company.
Yeah.
Big companies shouldn't die. Sears should not be dead.
Yeah, Sears, man. I remember the
You
Sears.
remember Sears?
My grandmother used to have the
Right?
Sears.
See, remember that?
My mom used to work in Sears.
Sears should not be dead.
Yeah.
A lot of our media companies that came up in Chicago should not be dead.
Yeah.
But when you build them and you don't know how to step aside and know when you've given it all you got and that it needs some fresh eyes and some fresh ears.
Yeah.
I'm at that point. I'm open for it. And I'm just glad to know that when God will help me make a decision and will have an alignment that will allow it because I'm manifesting it. And it won't die on the vine. VON, Midway Broadcasting, VON TV, all of the things that are part of it, I'm hoping will grow. And that is the true testament of me being a CEO. It's not that I've been able to maintain it.
Yeah.
It is that I've left it in great enough hands that it grows on into perpetuity.
One of our favorite words.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah. Love that.
Yes.
Well, we'll be talking more off camera.
We will be.
This has been Marketing Mentality. We are with a legend, a living legend here, and we appreciate your time. Appreciate the impact that you're making in your industry, but also the world. Right? Chicago is the world. So thank you for your time. This has been Marketing Mentality. Like, subscribe, comment. Check us out, man. We're having more and more conversations like this. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Y'all.
Peace.